and welcome to another TechHub.Training solution video. This video will cover the solution for the challenge PowerPoint Visual Tax Insights. In this challenge, we need to create a PowerPoint for our client to highlight changes in their organizational structure and their historical tax data both in a table form and in a graph form. Let's get started by looking at the information that's provided to us. We'll start by looking at the historical tax data. Here we see in column A we have 2020 through 2024. We have pre-tax income, tax expense, and tax liability, all given to us in millions of dollars. We are also provided with an organization chart from the client. We can see that they have multiple different companies that are different legal types and will be taxed differently. So we have C Corps, S Corps, limited partnerships, hybrid partnerships, branches, and hybrid branches. We're also given a guide to corporate diagram shapes. Here we can see that these different types of corporations are represented by different shapes when creating our organization chart. We have rectangles for corporations, both S Corp and C Corp, triangles for partnerships, ovals for branches, a triangle in a rectangle, that's hybrid partnerships, and a circle in a rectangle, which is hybrid branches. We can also see that here we have a line with an arrow that indicates a relationship between two entities. So let's get started on our PowerPoint. We're going to start by giving our PowerPoint a title slide. So here we're going to give it a quick title that is succinct but also explains what the PowerPoint is going to cover. So I'm going to say Tax Insights for fiscal year 2024, and our client is Crestwood Holdings. Here you can see I already built out some of the org chart, but I'm going to work with you to create the last entity that we need to add to this chart, which we can see if we look back on our organization chart provided by the client. I need to add Crestwood Trade and Commodities, which is a hybrid branch. So now that we know we're going to create a hybrid branch, let's look at our diagram shapes, and we can see that hybrid branches are a circle inside of a rectangle. Let's go back. We also can see from the org chart that this entity should be underneath Crestwood Global Investments, which is also a hybrid branch. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. And we want to create a rectangle with a circle inside of it. So I'm going to come over to Insert, Shapes, and I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Once you have some of your shapes already done, then it becomes a lot easier to just copy and paste, but for the sake of showing what we're doing here, step by step, I'm going to create one for you. So we're not going to fill our shape, we're going to make sure there's no fill. And then our outline we want to be black. Let's make sure that our dimensions are correct. The challenge specifies that the height should be 1.05, so I got that correct, and the width should be 3.27. So let's change the width to 3.27. Great, now the dimensions are correct. Now on the inside, we'll write the name of the entity, which is Crestwood Trade and Commodities. I'm just going to copy it directly from their org chart. And the directions also specify we don't need to put the type of entity that it is underneath. We just want the name. So let's add that text to our box. Okay. PowerPoint is being a little bit finicky right now, but we will add the text later. So Now I need an oval to add on the inside, so I'm going to insert another shape. Going to draw out an oval, and then over here we can specify the height should be 1.05 and our width should be 3.27. We want no fill and we want the outline to be black. Great, so now we're going to group these two shapes together because we're going to treat this as just one shape because it's for one single entity. So here I want to align my rectangle and my oval so that they are perfectly aligned on the outsides here. Then I will select my rectangle and also my oval by using the Control button. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to group. Now this is just treated as one shape and it's going to make it a lot easier to move around and maneuver as we finish up what we're doing here. So next we're going to connect our Crestwood Global Investments to our new entity. We're going to use an arrow for that. We're going to insert a shape. It's going to be an arrow. Here we can see when I drag the arrow over the different shapes, it has these dots. That's where you can connect the arrow to the shape. So I want to come from the bottom of this shape to the top of this one. And I want the arrow to be black. Great. I still can't figure out how to get the text inside. So that's how you create a group shape. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to copy over one of my previous shapes because this one already has text in it. Then I'm going to revisit my org chart where I have Crestwood Trade and Commodities. I'm going to copy that over to the PowerPoint slide. Great. And then I can see that my text is Georgia 14, so I'm going to change this to Georgia 14 as well. And I'll make sure that my arrow is connected. Another thing I want to make sure of here is that all of these shapes are aligned. So I'm going to select all these shapes. I'm going to come to Arrange. Then I'm going to Align and Align Center. That's going to make sure that they're all in a straight line. You can see here that there are a lot of different align functions. I would encourage you to use these different functions, distribute horizontally and vertically, align middle, align center. They're all super useful for creating a super detailed chart that is precise and professional. So now I'm going to make it, now that I have my full original org chart, the client wants to see what their org chart would look like with a new branch added under Crestwood Retail Partners. And we're going to duplicate this slide so that we have the exact same org chart, and then we're just going to add our branch right underneath. So nothing else is going to change. We're just going to add our branch underneath Crestwood Retail Partners. So because it's a branch, it's going to be an oval. We can double check that from our key. We can see that branches are ovals. So we want to make sure it's an oval. So I'm just going to copy this branch over. I'm going to make sure it's aligned. I will change the name of the branch to be the new name as specified in the directions, with Crestwood, and then the name of the new branch. And then I'm going to copy over an arrow, so I'm connecting it to the bottom of Retail Partners, and to the top of the new branch. Then I'm going to make sure that these entities that are in this column are all aligned. Again, that's under this Arrange tab, and then Align Center. I also want to make sure that every row is aligned. So a way that I can do that is Arrange, Align Middle. And we can see that those shifted, so now they're all in one row. Next, we want to create a table for our historical tax data. So if we take a look at our Excel, we can see that we have 4 columns and 6 rows. So the table that I'm going to create in PowerPoint is also going to be those same dimensions. So I'm going to insert a table here, and we want 4 columns and 6 rows. Perfect. Then I'm going to manually enter the data in here. So we're going to have our year, our pre-tax income, if I can spell, our tax expense, and our tax liability. And here we'll just insert all this data so that we can have it here for the client, easy to read in this presentation, and a lot easier to access than having to open up a different Excel sheet. So I'll quickly finish with data entry here. And here we're up to 2024. Great. So now that we have that data inserted, we can change any of the formatting to make it look as professional as we want it to. And then our last step is to create a historical tax data graph out of the same information that we're given here. So I'm going to come to Insert New Chart, and then I do want a clustered column chart. So I'm going to click OK. Then Excel is going, it's going to open an Excel looking like table, and this is where we're going to enter in our data. So I'm going to come over here to where I already inserted this data as a table, and I'm going to copy this information so that I can paste it into the graph data. So here it keeps the way that I pasted it kept the formatting, but that shouldn't matter. So we'll come here. Looks like it didn't update quite yet, so we'll go to Edit Data. And there we go. We can see that it updated for each different year. Now I would go back, now that I have my graph and my table and my org charts, I would go back through and I would make sure that my formatting is all the way I wanted. So I would pick a color scheme maybe for these different columns on the chart, and I would make sure that this font is big enough that the client could read it if it was given in a presentation, and I would make sure that all of the shapes are the same height and width, and all of the text inside is the same font. So just these details that really matter when you're creating a visual like this for a client, and some of those really useful skills to learn in PowerPoint that you can apply in a lot of different situations. Thanks.